Captain Amara Chun watched through her cracked helmet visor as the last of her squad disappeared beneath a mass of writhing tentacles and obsidian claws. The creature codenamed Terminus by Coalition intelligence moved with impossible speed. For its massive bulk, all glistening carapace and rending talons. "Echo Squad is down," she rasped into her comm. "I repeat, Echo Squad is down." The elite Terran vanguard, humanity's finest warriors, lay scattered across the blood-soaked, alien soil of Proxima Delta Dot from her concealed position behind a ridge of coppery rock formations that resembled Earth's Monument Valley. Amara observed. The monster. Unlike natural predators, Terminus showed calculating intelligence. The Ascendancy's bioengineers had created the perfect weapon. The neural uplink in her temple throbbed as Coalition command responded, voice tinged with desperation. "Captain Chun, the Ascendancy is broadcasting the attack across all channels. They're calling it their victory statement." Amara's fingers tightened around her pulse rifle. Useless. They'd emptied everything into the creature. Plasma rounds, tactical nukes, experimental quantum disruptors. All had merely slowed it down. She watched as Terminus consumed Corporal Diaz, her closest friend since academy days. Something snapped inside her. "Tell Command I'm initiating Protocol Omega," she whispered, disconnecting her neural feed before they could respond. On the blood-red horizon, 3 suns began setting simultaneously, casting the battlefield in crimson shadows. Unlike the carefully terraformed Coalition worlds, this planet remained primal raw, like Earth must have been millions of years ago. The air smelled of iron and ozone. Amara removed her armor piece by piece. The lightweight titanium ceramic composite that had failed to protect her team now represented a liability. It made noise. The creature hunted by sound and movement. From her tactical belt, she withdrew an ancestral weapon, a simple carbon steel blade passed through her family for generations. No energy signature. No technology for the creature to sense. Terminus had finished with her squad and was moving toward the ridge where Coalition dropships waited to extract survivors. There wouldn't be any. Stripped to her base layer, Amara smeared the red soil across her skin, mixing it with the blood of her fallen comrades. Ancient hunters on Earth had done the same to mask their scent from prey. But Amara wasn't the prey anymore. The creature paused, sensing something different. Its massive head, a nightmarish blend of insectoid and reptilian features, swiveled toward her position. Multiple eyes glittered with bioengineered intelligence. Amara didn't run. Instead, she smiled, feeling something primal awaken within her. Something older than spaceships and quantum weapons. Something the Ascendancy had forgotten humans possessed. Across the galaxy, billions watched the Ascendancy's victory broadcast. They were about to witness something else entirely. Asterisk Admiral Vierick of the Ascendancy Dominion Fleet watched the live feed with satisfaction. His mandibles clicked in approval as his finest creation, the culmination of 15 years of genetic engineering, eliminated the last of humanity's elite forces. "The Coalition will sue for peace by morning," his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Nilax, predicted. Without their vanguard, they have no effective counter to Terminus. The bridge of the Ascendancy flagship resonated with the harmonic tones of victory. The chitinous beings had spent decades fighting the human expansion, and finally they had created something the mammals couldn't overcome. "Continue broadcasting," Vierick ordered. "I want every species in the Coalition to witness their champions fall." On the primary view screen, Terminus prowled the battlefield, its massive form leaving tracks in soil that resembled the volcanic black sand beaches of Hawaii, only tinged with copper that glittered like coins in the fading light. "Unusual," Nilax said suddenly, compound eyes narrowing. "The creature appears agitated." Indeed, Terminus had stopped its methodical patrol and was scanning the terrain frantically, much like a zebra might sense a lion's presence in tall grasslands. Impossible, Varric dismissed. Nothing survives Terminus. Its sensory apparatus must be detecting wildlife. But deep in his thoracic cavity, a sensation the humans would call dread began to build. The feed abruptly shifted as Terminus spun, slashing at empty air. For a split second, Varric thought he saw a shadow a human form, but it vanished too quickly to be certain. "Enhance Sector 4, he commanded. The image zoomed and clarified. Nothing but rocks and alien vegetation that resembled Earth's baobab. Trees, only with crimson foliage that rustled in the evening breeze. Then Terminus screamed, a sound no being in the Ascendancy had programmed into it. The creature whirled again, this time clearly wounded. Ichor the color of oil leaked from a deep gash in its armored hide, precisely where the neural cluster controlling its right limbs was located. "Impossible," Varric repeated, rising from his command chair. "The armor at that junction is impenetrable to all Coalition weapons." Yet as they watched, another gash appeared across Terminus's sensory stalks. The creature lashed out wildly, destroying everything within reach, but hitting nothing. "Someone is hunting our hunter," Nylax whispered in that moment. The camera caught it, a mud-smeared human female, moving with terrible purpose, wielding nothing but a primitive blade that gleamed in the dying sunlight. Varric felt something he hadn't experienced since the war began. Fear. General Torben Kirsch of Coalition High. Command stared at the screen in disbelief as Captain Shun systematically dismantled the unstoppable predator. The broadcast, intended as Ascendancy propaganda, had become something else entirely. "She's using pre-space combat techniques," Colonel Aisha Rahman observed, her voice hushed with reverence. "Look at those movements. That's Indonesian Kuntao, mixed with something else, maybe Filipino Kali." The officers watched as Amara slashed through another neural cluster, rendering one of Terminus's primary limbs useless. The creature thrashed wildly in the lunar-like landscape, creating dust clouds that obscured portions of the battle. "She's fighting like our ancestors hunted megafauna on Earth," Kirsch realized. "Wearing it down, targeting weak points, using the environment." Unlike the sterile environments of Coalition habitats, with their carefully regulated atmospheric conditions and artificial gravity, this battlefield was chaotic, unpredictable, like Earth's wildest regions. Amara used this to her advantage, leading the creature across unstable terrain that couldn't support its mass. "The Ascendancy hasn't cut the feed," Rahman noted with surprise. "They're still broadcasting. They can't believe what they're seeing." Kirsch said, "Neither can I." After 43 minutes of systematic dismantling, Terminus lay heaving on the ground, its bioengineered systems failing. Amara stood before it, covered in the creature's oily blood and her own. What happened next would be etched into the collective memory of the galaxy forever. Amara withdrew an emergency survival kit from her belt. From it, she removed a plasma igniter, a simple tool used to start fires in hostile environments. With methodical precision, she began cutting pieces of flesh from the still living creature. The Coalition Command Center fell silent as she constructed a makeshift spit from battlefield debris and began to cook the meat. "Is she?" Rahman couldn't finish the sentence. "Yes," Kirsch confirmed. "She's eating it." In the harsh environment that resembled Earth's Death Valley, all cracked earth and merciless sun, Amara Chon sat cross-legged before her dying enemy and consumed its flesh. Her eyes stared directly into the Ascendancy camera drones hovering nearby, her gaze unflinching as she chewed. No triumph, no celebration, just the methodical consumption of what was supposed to be humanity's doom. Across 7,000 worlds, beings of all species watched in stunned silence. The message was clear without a single word being spoken. This is what humans do to their nightmares. They devour them, Asterisk asterisk. Chancellor Xin Sha of the Galactic Coalition Council adjusted her environmental suit as she stepped onto the landing pad. Earth's gravity was stronger than her homeworld's, the air thicker with nitrogen and oxygen like walking through water. Compared to the methane atmosphere her species evolved in. "Are you certain this meeting is necessary?" her aide, T-Call, asked nervously. "The diplomatic corps could handle." "No," Zinsha interrupted. "After what we witnessed, I must see this. Human myself." The coalition headquarters in Geneva resembled the ancient forums of Rome, but with structures that reached toward the clouds, a stark contrast to the squat, spherical buildings of Zinsha's homeworld that had evolved to withstand constant methane. Storms. Captain Amara Chun waited in the central atrium, now wearing the formal black uniform of the Terran Vanguard. Unlike the mud-covered warrior from the broadcast, she appeared almost ordinary, except for her eyes. Those hadn't changed. "Chancellor," Chun nodded respectfully, but didn't bow as protocol dictated. Zinsha noted the subtle insubordination, but chose to ignore it. "Captain Chun, your actions on Proxima Delta have altered the course of this conflict." "I completed my mission," Chun replied simply. "By consuming the enemy's weapon," Zinsha stated, her translator struggling to keep the horror from her tone. "By sending a message they would understand." The atrium fell silent. Through the vast crystal ceiling, Earth's moon was visible, scarred yet serene, much like the human standing before her. "The Ascendancy has requested armistice talks," Zinsha finally said. "Their entire fleet has withdrawn to their core systems. No formal communication, just ... retreat." Chun's expression didn't change. They learned what they needed to learn. "Which is what, exactly?" Zinsha asked, genuinely curious. "That humans don't just adapt to threats," Chorn explained, her voice steady. "We incorporate them. What tries to destroy us becomes part of us, our knowledge, our experience, our strength." She paused, looking directly into the Chancellor's compound eyes. Sometimes literally. Zinsha suppressed a shudder, suddenly aware that humans had evolved as persistence predators on a death world, so different from the careful symbiosis of her own species' evolution. "The Coalition Council is prepared to offer you any commendation." "I don't want commendations," Chun interrupted. "I want the Ascendancy to understand one thing. That wasn't a desperate act they witnessed. It was a reminder of what we are." As Zinsha departed Earth, she gazed down at the blue-green planet, so vibrant compared to the carefully engineered environments of most coalition worlds. She understood now why humans had survived despite their technological disadvantages, had never truly left their wilderness behind. 5 years after what became known as the consumption, Dr. Elias Okafor lectured at the Interspecies Military Academy on New Mars. The auditorium was filled with cadets from 27 species, most diverse class in the Academy's history. The psychological impact of Captain Sean's actions cannot be overstated. He explained, gesturing to the holographic recreation of the famous scene. With a single act, she transformed humanity's image in the galaxy. An Ascendancy cadet one, of the first to enroll after the peace treaty raised a limb. But it was just symbolic, yes? The nutritional value of terminus tissue would be minimal for humans. Okafor smiled. That's precisely what makes it significant. Captain Chun didn't eat terminus for sustenance. She consumed it to incorporate. Its power, a concept deeply rooted in human mythology across countless cultures. The lecture hall, with its tiered seating reminiscent of ancient Greek amphitheaters, fell silent as Okafor continued. Before spaceflight, human tribes would consume parts of worthy enemies or powerful animals, believing they would absorb their strength. When Captain Chun ate terminus, she wasn't just one human, she was humanity reaching back to its primal roots. A holographic display showed the aftermath. ascendancy ships withdrawing, peace negotiations beginning, and finally, the unprecedented joint research initiatives between former enemies. Today, we understand Terminus's genetic structure has yielded medical breakthroughs beneficial to all species, Okafor noted. In consuming our enemy's weapon, we ultimately transformed it into salvation. As the lecture concluded, a human cadet approached Okafor. "Sir, is it true that Captain Chun disappeared after the war?" Okafor nodded. "She returned to Earth, to a region called Siberia, one of our planet's last true wildernesses. Like many apex predators, she prefers solitude. Do you think she knew how her actions would change everything?" Okafor gazed through the Academy's crystal dome at the dusty Martian landscape beyond terraforming in progress. Humanity once again reshaping a hostile environment to suit their needs. Captain Chun understood something fundamental about our species that even we had forgotten, he said quietly. Humans don't just survive adversity, we consume it, digest it, and emerge stronger. Later that evening, as new Mars smaller moons rose over the horizon, an ascendancy diplomat and a human general shared a meal, a symbolic recreation of Amara's famous feast. Now a diplomatic tradition dot across the galaxy. The story was told in different ways, but always with the same conclusion. When faced with extinction, humans didn't just fight back, they devoured the very concept of their defeat and made it part of their victory. And the galaxy never forgot. Asterisk.